Hey guys, this is Jim from Vancouver. Big fan of the show. Just was sitting around, eating bacon and filling out forms for free healthcare, and I thought I'd call in the show because just wondering why you guys don't talk more about hockey. And just to clear something up, a lot like how in Europe they call soccer football, up here in Canada we actually call hockey puck. So just wondering why you guys don't talk more about puck on the show. It's a really exciting sport. More than half the teams make the playoffs. Even though there's 82 regular season games, it's like a really cool appetizer for the main course, which is the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I don't know if you know, but it's super slippery out there because they're playing on ice, which is cool. I mean, it's literally really cool. So, really enjoy the show. Thanks, guys.
The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? It's the week of May 6, 2019. I am Taylor Cooper. This is Might Be Sports. With me, as always, Kevin Reevy. What up, Reevy?
I'm so excited because it's Stanley Cup playoff time. Pachoo, Stanley Cup, ice.
CJ. What up, CJ?
So we're talking about figure skating?
Did you say finger painting?
Pretty close.
That's a line from the famous movie, The Cutting Edge.
And our newest addition to the show, Andrew DeCecco. What's up, Andrew? How you doing?
Hey, man, what's going on?
And with us tonight, special edition producer mode is Steve. Everybody say hi to producer Steve tonight.
What's up, everybody?
Steve from Might Be Brews is learning the ropes of production because I'm not going to be here this weekend when Might Be News and Relatable Radio recorded. So everybody give Steve a round of applause. Taking over here. Really appreciate it. Okay, so the first thing I want to start with this week is something that we didn't bring up at all on the premiere. And we were talking about what did we miss? What happened in sports while we were gone? And I think one of the biggest things that happened, arguably, is Tiger Woods winning the Masters. Right. And we totally forgot about it. I watched some of it. I didn't even realize how close or how good he was doing until Sunday. And because I don't like follow golf. I know a lot of people who do, though. And I know that social media was going absolutely crazy when all this was going on. Reevy, were you watching the Masters?
Yeah, I watched every day of it. It's really into it. I had 2 designated Masters shirts. I wore one on Thursday and Saturday and the other on, Friday and Sunday, of course. Because, as you know, I'm a William Murray golf fan. Everybody out there, go to williammurraygolf.com. Check out their new spring collection. It just came out about 2 months ago. It's very invigorating.
It's vibrant.
It's great. So they're not a sponsor. They're just they fuel my life force, so to speak. I'm kind of the better way to say it is it's an addiction. I have a problem. And CJ, if you could have Novak give me a call later, that'd be great.
Right.
Yeah, so I watched most of it. It was amazing. I actually had Tiger in my golf pool. Immediately, there's a text that exists out there somewhere where on day one, I sent a text to a buddy of mine where everybody can say after the fact, you drafted somebody in fantasy and look how brilliant I look, or I took Tiger Woods, he won the Masters. The first day of the tournament, I sent a text to a buddy of mine saying, shit, I'm so dumb. Why did I pick Tiger and not Brooks Koepka? I'm an idiot. And he's like, what do you mean? Tiger's doing pretty good. But he's not going to win. This is stupid. So I felt like a real idiot, and then I ended up winning the damn thing. But it wasn't because I knew anything. Tiger's my favorite golfer. I picked him with my heart, not my brain. But it turned out to be right in both cases. So it worked out. He played great. Brooks Koepka also played pretty great, but I think he kind of tailed off towards the end. It's just crazy. I was always saying Tiger's going to win again, but in today's day and age, it's like, what have you done for me lately? And we're seeing it now, like in the short term with the Sixers and their fans. Like with every win, they're going to win the finals. With every loss, they don't deserve to be in the playoffs.
Right.
And with Tiger, it's been like that, like crazy. I mean, people just they love to go to extremes. Like you're the greatest ever, or you're never going to win again. And it's just not as exciting as soundbite with so much competition in the media if there's like a middle ground. So you have to be on one side or the other, which is weird. Because I think the smart play was always a Tiger's going to win again.
Yeah, I like, why not? I mean, the only reason why not, I suppose, would just be because, like, physically. I mean, he had so many medical problems, major surgeries. Obviously, he's on the wrong side of 40, I guess. But you look at it, why not? Why not win at least one more? But that would be my next question for you, would be, what do you think moving forward for Tiger? Like, is he all the way back? Because one of my favorite things about this whole story is the video that was floating around of him being shown video clips from all different, sports people in the media, other athletes saying that he was done. Point blank period. The question was, is Tiger gonna win again? No, Tiger's done. And like all of those people, and like it was kind of heartbreaking for me watching him watch this video, but like he did it, and like it's by far one of the biggest comeback stories in sports modern history, for sure. I mean, for sure. But do you think he's good? Like he's all the way back?
I mean, I think no,
he's like contender.
He's
Tiger.
still a pretty old dude, so he's not going to be the way he was. But also, it's about the environment around him. So, like, so my co-author for the baseball book, Ryan Spader, he did an article on Walter Johnson, who was the greatest pitchers of all time. He, in the early 20th century, if you brought him back, if you did a carbon copy of him then and brought him back to today's game, he would top out at like 89 miles an hour, 88 miles an hour. But back then, that was
huge.
I mean, he might touch 90, not 91, whatever, but he would sit around 88, 89 miles an hour. That was enough back then. Now, what Tiger was doing 15, 20 years ago, the competition wasn't anywhere near that. There was guys with beer bellies literally named Fuzzy.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah.
That was his competition. Like these fat white guys. And now there's actual, I mean, we're all fat white guys.
Cheers.
Andrew notwithstanding. Andrew's in pretty good shape. But, so it's just a different environment. But Tiger created this. So that's what makes it like really cool. And like, there's just so much more of an athletic component to it now. So yeah, he can't be what he was. Age and because
I don't
the
think he can ever be
great.
back though, because being back means you've gone to where you were before, and then even exceeding it a little. He will never have a video game again.
That's for sure.
So that's a big payday. That's a big platform.
Yeah.
And
I used to love those games.
Since it's already been renamed.
It's Rory golf now.
And he's not that great right now.
He's not.
He's going through a little bit of a struggle. I mean, he started out the year hot, but then as soon as the Masters popped up, he was the big name, like a popular pick for the Masters, and he kind of, shit the bed there. So it'll be interesting. Got the PGA Championship coming up next. See how he does there. But
I mean, as far
Rory's
as like,
old news,
as far as being back for this in this instance, CJ, what I basically meant is like, should he be considered a contender moving forward? Like, should he legitimately? Because before, like you said, Kev, it was more or less, going with it with your heart, not your brain. But should your brain be thinking Tiger these days, like moving forward?
I think it has to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would consider him back on that because it's golf. So each time is a different. It's not like anything. It's not like playing a series or something where, you're 2 games back.
Right. Like he couldn't come back and win the NHL playoffs.
Right.
Well, think of it like, I mean, we just had the Kentucky Derby. Think of it like a horse race. When he used to play.
Reverse Happy Gilmore.
There you go. I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
The whole thing is crazy.
Well, I mean, to finish the thought, if it's like a horse race, Tiger used to be 5-2 in every race. And now there's horses just like Tiger out there in the field. He can still be the favorite, but he's going to be the favorite at like 8-1, 10-1. He's not like an overwhelming 5-2, 2-1 kind of guy. So it's just the field is better and he's older. So it kind of like the whole playing field evens out. He could still be the favorite in a tournament, but
he's favored.
The odds are still going to be insane.
Steve just showed me he's favored going forward to win the whole thing 8-1.
Yes, that's what I mean. So 8-1. So let's go back to 2002. We're going into the PGA Championship. His odds, if we could look back then, I'm sure his odds were 2-1 at worst, 2-1.
Yeah.
So it's like the whole field is that
now.
much better.
Yeah,
he could still be the top dog, but the definition of that is totally different now.
I wanted to ask you. You had a really good segue right there. We had the Kentucky Derby recently. Did anybody here watch the Kentucky Derby? I did not watch.
After the fact, yes.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I had my Bill Murray Kentucky Derby pants. That's actually a true story. So he
does own this.
If anybody's seen the movie Kingpin, Bill Murray's character in that movie has a bowling ball with a rose in the middle.
Yep.
And you can look this up on the website. Bill Murray's, once again, WilliamMurrayGolf.com.
There's the plug.
Endorsement deal left and right.
He
here.
has pants that have they're blue pants with bowling balls with red roses in the center all over the pants.
That's so awesome.
So, the Kentucky Derby is the run for the roses. My girlfriend wasn't too thrilled, but of course I wore those pants out for the old family party.
That's incredible. What do you think about the outcome?
I think I'm glad it didn't snowball into at the time, I was thinking this is bad, because I think horse racing is already like hanging by a thread with so many things people are upset about in society right now. The idea that people are taking these wild animals and forcing them to race, and a lot of them are dying in Santa Anita right now. I'm thinking like, this is going to be next in the chopping block, and a weird, like, to piss off 1 million people that voted for this horse. I'm like, this is like the first shoe to drop. This could be bad. But the aftermath didn't seem too bad. At the end of the day, nobody gives a shit about horse racing.
Yeah, straight up. It's like it was over within a couple of days, but it was pretty crazy. Like that afternoon and that night for sure. And then like the beginning of the week, I guess. But it seems like nobody's talking about it anymore because, like you said, nobody gives a shit about horse racing.
I don't know. I feel like you haven't heard the last of it because think about it. You have those people that have the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck, my horse lost. Rip it up, throw it.
Right. I never thought about that.
And then all of a sudden, your horse just won.
Right.
15 minutes after you already torn up the ticket and threw it.
Right. And then, the whole thing with the craziest part about the whole story is the money. That's the craziest part about the whole story. Because for 22 minutes after the race, you didn't know who won because they were like deliberating it, and then a whole different horse fucking won when this horse wasn't supposed to win it in the first place. I don't know.
So
the whole
let
thing's
that
crazy.
Be a
to me.
lesson to you, kids. All the kids out there listening, when you're betting on horses, when you're kids, listen up. Seriously, when you go to the horse track, this weekend, whatever it is, when you go to the horse track, you're betting on. Do not tear up your tickets. When you get the fake ID, you go to the horse track right after school. Get a 6-pack of beer, whatever you do. Bet on the ponies. Do not tear up the tickets. It's just a service.
At least save the ticket for like 3 days, just in case something happens.
Yeah, something like that.
Do
At
the
least
right thing, kids. Just
couple
think
days.
things through. Just
Because imagine that. You rip up the ticket and then hold on, we gotta wait 22 minutes, and then your fucking horse won.
Well, and then the other owner of the other horse tried to appeal it. Imagine if they would have accepted the appeal.
Right.
Then that would have completely fucked the whole thing up.
Yeah, they don't hear appeals.
I mean,
apparently.
I've bet on a lot of horses in my life. I'm not a gambler, but I enjoy going out and I throw a few dollars on long shots because I'm an idiot. And you should, if you have any idea what you're doing, to wait for it to be final before you do anything with the ticket.
Right.
Because it happens a lot in regular races.
Right.
Where horses will get DQ'd all the time. Or it just takes forever for them to look at the tape and figure out if they should DQ or it's a photo finish or whatever.
Quick little Preakness tip for you. Always Mining. Check out that horse. Semi-local out of Maryland. Check out Always Mining in the Preakness.
The one thing I wanted to talk about the Preakness quick, and for the Kentucky Derby, the field is 20 horses, I think, and for the Preakness and everything else, it's only like 14.
Right.
So there's owners complaining about the Kentucky Derby, just saying that it's too big. There's
That's
too
why
many horses out there.
I've always loved betting on the long shot because none of these horses have ever experienced a field like this before. They're obviously young horses. So it would have paid off if you picked the right long shot for this horse, 65-1.
Yeah.
I just happened to pick the wrong one. And in previous years, there's been like huge favorites that just happen to win every year. But by and large, you don't have to go that far back to find a lot of huge long shots that win the Kentucky Derby just because it's this weird, huge field.
Right.
But yeah, the Preakness and the Belmont, they normally, end the way they should.
And the Kentucky Derby, obviously the biggest field, it's the biggest race in the sport, right? But just for the people who don't know, what happened to cause the outcome of this one?
It was like
He got disqualified, but for what?
When you establish, as far as I know, when you establish your lane, you can't impede on anyone else's lane unless it's clear. So it's kind of like, I guess it would be similar to basketball, if like a block charge. If you're set, then it's a charge as a defender because you're there first and you set your position. If a horse gets into a lane and doesn't make contact, it's totally okay to block another horse. But if they get in that lane and there's contact, that means that the length of that horse, that zone, you impeded on their zone. You impeded on their chance to pass on your right or left. I mean, it's if you look at it like the same as like NASCAR, you obviously wouldn't be able to do the same thing with NASCAR because you would hit the car and you'd both wreck.
Crash, right.
So it's like the same idea. But again, with a 20-horse field and it's muddy and it's as crazy as it, and you're dealing with wild animals, I definitely feel like that's one call they could have let go.
Yeah.
So
That's extra corny. All right, moving on.
extra corny.
Extra corny. The whole thing.
I mean, you don't have to be so harsh. Jeez, are we allowed to say that on here? Man, my mom listens to this.
Hey, I already figured how I'm betting next year on the horse race since it's 20 horses. $5 on each horse.
There you go.
All the way down. $100.
Can't lose.
And I'm going to root for a long shot to take it.
Everybody has a system until they lose everything.
Until you lose everything.
$100 isn't
All
that
right, can
bad
we
of a
talk
bet.
about real sports now?
Real sports.
Gosh, we started out with hockey, and then, by the way, shout out to Jim in Vancouver. We're never talking about hockey. It's just not going to happen. And then we went
And co-host Kev.
to golf. I love golf, but nobody else does. And then
A lot of people
horse
do
racing.
on the down low. And you know what? I remember watching Tiger Woods win his first Masters, and what that meant for the sport of golf and for the world of golf. Like I remember, witnessing how important all of that was and his dominance. I mean, there's very few people that dominate their sports the way that he did on an international level, just on a pure domination level. I mean, you've got your Michael Jordans, you got your Wayne Gretzky's, you got your, Peyton Manning's, you got whatever. But like that Tiger Woods is
Right.
that for golf.
Well, I mean, this might be revisionist history, but if I recall correctly, I remember seeing right before the Masters in '97, the Nike commercial where everybody's saying, "I am Tiger Woods."
I remember,
And I remember watching that commercial and be like, who the fuck is Tiger Woods? I am Tiger Woods. I am Tiger. You might as well be saying, I am Scott Papercan. I mean, I don't. And by the way, it was a total Brady Bunch move where I looked at your sheet of paper and I looked at a beer can and I came up with Scott Papercan.
Nice.
George Glass, all the way. Yeah, so I remember like that time, and then the world changed the next weekend. If I remember correctly, I could be totally revising history and the commercial came out after the Masters, but I don't think so.
I mean, he had kids into golf that like nobody gave a shit about golf before Tiger Woods. Like it was just something like your dad watched, whatever. Like who cares? Your grandfather, whoever. But then Tiger Woods came along, and it was like people actually paid attention. People went out and bought the video games. People, I mean, I own quite a few of those video games, and like I watched Tiger Woods win because he was interesting. The Sunday Tiger, you know what I mean, with the red, the iconic red shirt, and like just he was a beast, and I'm glad that he's back, quote unquote. I'm glad that he's back into being a contender, certainly moving forward, and I'm just anxious to see, I guess. What's the record he's chasing? Who has the most wins?
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus.
But he's not going to get there, I don't think. I think he needs 2 or 3 more to tie.
3 more to yeah. I
just don't think
you don't think
it's
so.
going to. He's too old.
Yeah.
So it's just not going to work. I mean, yeah, if he can, but it doesn't make sense. He could play till he's like 50 competitively, I guess, and get lucky. But man,
it's always the senior tour.
Like you said, the competition's so much different.
He's going to dominate on what's now called the Champions Tour. Come on, this is 2019. We can't be ageist.
Sorry,
it's the Champions Tour now.
We had to go with the G League thing instead of the D League, so we call it the Champions.
It's the injured list in baseball, not the disabled list. Everything's different now. We got to be respectful.
Well, real quick before break, so some football mini camps are starting this weekend, including the Eagles. Andrew, you and I were talking a little bit about that before the show.
Yep.
What are some of the moves that the Eagles are looking to possibly make? What are you looking for in the Eagles mini camp? Are you going to be down there? Are you going to be checking it out? Are you going to be?
I actually won't be down there, but kind of looking at the roster as it stands, it's pretty complete. I guess if you had to pick a couple positions that they're light at, I would say probably backup guard, and you could probably say if Chris Long doesn't come back, all of a sudden there you have a gap there at defensive end. So I think that you look at Ziggy Ansah, he's a free agent, and you look at some of these other guys like a Jeff Allen, who's a guard, and Brandon Fusco, who runs a slippery rock, who has a lot of starting experience. I think those are some Howie Roseman type moves that I think they may look to address. And that probably would be the most complete roster on paper in the NFL.
I can't wait for Eagles. Oh my God, I can't wait for the football.
So what do you think about the linebacker they signed, the Eagles? What's his name?
Zach Brown.
Zach Brown. I every time I hear that name, I'm thinking of the band.
Nah, don't do that.
Yeah,
Zach Brown band, right?
Yeah, isn't that right?
Is that like a country band?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I think so. I'm not familiar with a single one of their songs.
I know they have a cartoon music video because I used to see it all in the jukebox all the time at the bar.
So how good is Zach Brown? He was a Pro Bowler like 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, actually, I really liked him. And actually, I was going through my tweets, and I put a tweet out 2 months ago saying, I hope the Eagles take a look at Zach Brown because I think he would pair really nicely with Nigel Bradham. He's a really good player. He went to UNC. He came out. He ran a 4.5. He's really athletic. He started out on the outside with the Tennessee Titans, and then I think now with the Eagles, he'll probably shift into the middle. And kind of bring. He's not much of a cover guy these days, but I think he'll pair really nicely with Nigel Bradham. I still think Bradham will call the plays though.
So I know that recently Howie was talking about signing Carson Wentz to a long-term deal, basically saying that if it's good for them, they'll do it. If it's good for him, they'll do it. What do you think? I mean, moving forward with Carson Wentz, obviously Nick Foles is out of the picture, and I've been saying for a while that I think that that's going to play into how good Carson Wentz does this year. Just kind of having that, off his back a little bit. There's a statue of dude out front,
Right.
What do you think? How do you think Carson Wentz is going to do this year? Like just gut instinct.
I feel like he's going to start out a little slow, but
Yeah.
I think you're going to start to see the Carson Wentz of 2017. I thought a lot about this, and I kind of think that maybe they should pick up his option and kind of wait and see how it plays out. You look at the deals that the Russell Wilsons and the Aaron Rodgers and all those guys get, and they deserve it. If they've won Super Bowls, but you kind of you want to see more from Carson Wentz before you shell out that kind of money,
Right.
or anything close to that for that matter.
There's a big debate going on about him, and it has been going on whether or not he's injury prone, and how to deal with that moving forward. I don't know. I mean, I didn't follow him closely enough in college football because of where he was playing. I know that the team that he was playing on won a bunch of national championships in the division or whatever that they're in, with him at the helm. So I don't know.
He was injured there as
He was
a
injured
senior,
as well.
yeah.
Though. Yep. So
And then he broke his ribs in 2016 as a rookie, and
Right.
then, obviously the ACL in 2017, and then last year, kind of slowly coming back, and then having that back injury at the end of the season. So yeah, I guess he
That's
does
the
have
fear.
that label. Yeah,
that's the fear.
Hey, you know what? We were just talking about like how everybody has a short memory, and I wonder, like I really wonder, like put a pin in this right now. The trend in the NFL right now is to get the running quarterback,
Yeah.
the athletic guy who can pass the ball, but most importantly, run the ball. And it was just 2 or 3 years ago when those guys, you didn't want anything to do with those guys because they're going to get hurt. They're going to get hit, and the risk reward is too high. Now, what did we just have? We had 1 year where all these guys didn't get hurt. Deshaun Watson, like the guys that run the ball more.
Lamar Jackson at the end of the season.
Lamar Jackson is the far extreme version. Deshaun Watson doesn't run that much, but he's
Right.
an athletic guy. All these guys that can, Russell Wilson, an example, every year doesn't get hurt. So I think we had 1 year where none of these guys got hurt, and everybody thinks, oh, it's safe now.
Yeah.
But the year before, Deshaun Watson got knocked out for the whole year.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was having a great season too.
It's just, I wonder if people are changing the rules because for 1 year, nothing bad happened to these
Yeah.
guys. When I still think the injury risk is way, way, way too high. I mean, I think Lamar Jackson, like
He's one big hit away from being on the
going
shelf.
with
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, I think is foolish. Some of these guys, Baker Mayfield, you have to wonder if eventually you have to stick in the pocket a little bit.
You have
I
to.
Right.
I think you can't just keep running around all over the damn place. Andrew Luck, one of the most talented arms in the world, how did he get screwed? Because he was running the ball too damn much.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Your number will come up. So I wonder if just because 1 year, nothing bad happened to these guys, everybody thinks it's free and clear. I don't think so. So I think Carson Wentz has to have a little bit of a more pocket quarterback presence and buck the trend. The trend right now is to run the football with the quarterback.
Throw the ball
You
away.
have, you have two running backs now, two
Right.
starting
Yeah,
caliber
why
running
not run the
backs.
ball with the damn running back?
Right.
What happened to that? So,
Right.
I mean,
You have Jordan Howard. You took Miles Sanders at 53
Right.
overall. So I mean, like, yeah, run the ball. Be
Yeah.
smart about
and
it.
every once in a while, scramble out, be smart about it. I think Russell Wilson's one of the smartest guys where that comes into play. And that's why he's been healthy his whole career. So, it's
Drew Brees is another one.
Right, and it's-
obviously shorter quarterback. He's not really known for running around much, but he can get moving and get some yards. But you just got to be smart about it and throw the ball away. You don't see that as much as you used to. I mean, obviously, it's not as exciting to see.
Everybody's
somebody-
trying to make that play. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes you got to do what's best for the team and get
Yep.
rid of the
Just
football.
get rid
Eli
of the
made it
football.
an art.
Right.
Eli Manning is not an athletic freak. He's great at not getting hurt, but part of that is, he will throw the ball at his shins. Not just
Yeah.
throw the ball away. He will intentionally ground 5 times a game and get away with it. Whatever it takes to not get hit. Sometimes it's what you got to do. Doesn't look good, but
He's still
Gets it
playing.
done.
He's still playing. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about the NHL playoffs. And by little bit, I mean very little, because I haven't watched a second of it.
really?
Have you?
Oh, yeah. Puck, you mean? I want to be, accurate to how it's called in the homeland.
Yeah,
It's called Puck.
Puck. We're going to talk about some Puck when we come back right after this.
Loud, brash, controversial, and now completely uncensored. Foundation Radio is joining the Might Be News Network. Foundation Radio, exclusively on the Might Be News Network podcast. Just search Might Be News Network to listen and subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and everywhere podcasts are found. New episodes every other Thursday.
Welcome back to Might Be Sports, Season 2, Episode 2, exclusively on the Might Be News Network, mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier for you to find your new favorite podcast. You can even ask Alexa to play the Might Be News Network podcast, and she'll play it. You should pause the episode and try it right now, because it'll play this episode. We're on Tuned In now, right? Tune In?
Yes.
The thing is?
No. Here's what you have to do. When you walk into someone's house, go, "Hey Alexa, play Might Be News Network."
Yep. Done deal.
All
Done
you have
deal.
to do.
You see an Alexa laying around? Just do me a favor.
Doesn't have to be at your house. Anybody's house.
Anybody's house, right? Do it. If they have the parental controls on, it probably won't play.
Or play the Jeopardy game. That's fun. Or Eric Clapton.
But yeah, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. We got a new Novak and Franz show coming up this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you check that out. Season premiere there. We've got the Patreon up and running, but we're going to go more in depth with that next week. Just kind of iron out some of the things, but it's up and running. It's ready to rock. We'll be doing that soon as well, starting these 90-minute episodes, so stay tuned for that. What else? Any more network stuff? I don't think so. Let's talk NHL playoffs. So one thing that I can say about the NHL playoffs, in its defense, is that when the number one team in the league doesn't get swept out in the first round, they're usually pretty competitive. I mean, you see a lot of Game 7s, series going on in the NHL playoffs. So I can say that that's exciting and that's fun to watch. Obviously, you have the weird years like this one where, what was it, Tampa? Was Tampa the best team in the league?
Yes.
Is that who it was? And they got swept? And the Penguins got swept out in the first round as well, right? That doesn't usually happen. So it's kind of an off year for that. But they're usually pretty competitive. I mean, even if half the league makes it in, I don't know. Right now, there's 2 series in the West that are going to Game 7, the Dallas and the St. Louis and the Colorado and San Jose series. They're tied up at 3. And the next that's not even the finals yet. There's still there's one more round before the finals, semifinals.
All right. So the only way I'm
This
interested
thing
in
is going to be
this,
going on for another 2 months.
the only way I'm interested in this is co-host Kev, call me when it's Game 7, third period, and I'll watch it if the score's close.
See, we got to get co-host Kev on the show to talk about this stuff.
The
'cause
ratings
I
for the
can't do
first
this thing.
round of the playoffs, I heard, were up pretty significantly this year. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's people love hockey. I'm busted on it, and I should back off a little bit because I'm not good with saying what I'm supposed to say. So I did not plan on it. It wasn't until we took this break that I kind of put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't trash hockey on the same day that my new book is released with the mascot for the Flyers writing the forward.
Hey, that's true.
So I got Gritty. Me and Brian Startari, we got Gritty to write the forward. His first, as far as we know, his first long form essay that gives a background on Gritty, and it's hilarious. And if you know me, I'm a silly guy, and I don't take things too seriously. I like to cross that over into sports, try to bring some, lighthearted stuff to the things that I do, and certainly this would fit the bill. And it's a love it or hate it thing. I've talked to even family members that said, Gritty did the forward, you're an idiot. And that's fine. I think it's cool.
That's so
it's
high.
nice. It was really hard to make happen. Gritty has a tough schedule, and he's got big hands. It's hard for him to actually hit the keys on a keyboard. So there's a lot of extra people involved. He doesn't have a great grasp on the English language.
Right.
So I mean, it's a team effort, and we're glad we made it happen. And you know what? I'm a Flyers fan when they're winning because I'm a total bandwagon.
When they
dude.
made the playoffs.
Yeah. So, but Brian Sartari is a Flyers super fan, And he's actually one of the most knowledgeable Flyers experts on the planet. Used to do the pregame show for them for 97.5. And, it's a good mix and match deal because he's got the hockey stuff down and I can kind of, pick up where he leaves off. But he's actually a master of all that sports stuff. And it's nice that he has the hockey stuff down because I'm just nowhere near. As soon as John LeClaire retired, that's where the end of my hockey knowledge pretty much begins. But I try to pay attention, but it's just hard. Don't enjoy the sport.
So Taylor, you said the NHL playoffs was up in viewer ratings.
Reevy said that, but yes.
Oh yeah. All right.
I did.
So do you know the number? Because I'm looking at the number right now.
I don't know the number. I mean, it had 6 rating points.
1%. It's up 1%.
Oh, well.
You know how much the NBA playoffs is down currently?
Oh, God. How much?
19%.
God.
And
God.
that actually makes sense if you look at geographically, when you take out LA, if you look at who's left in the playoffs right now, it's very interesting. You got Toronto, and is Toronto even going to show up on? You're losing Toronto entirely. I'm thinking from the American ratings. I'm guessing that's what it's going to be, right? Like the American ratings thing. You're talking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Toronto is literally not in America, so you got that. You got Milwaukee, which obviously I don't know what kind of market that is, but it's not strong,
right?
And Philly's good. Boston's good. Golden State, fantastic. Houston, solid, not great.
Yeah.
And then what's left? You got Denver, not good at all. You're missing New York and LA.
Yeah.
That's never a great thing. So,
I think the problem with the NBA and the way that they do things is that they have such late games. Like all those West Coast games. Nobody on the East Coast is staying up until 2 a.m. for a 4 overtime game between Portland and Denver. You know what I mean? Like 2 a.m. That lasted till. I mean, not saying that all of them are going to, but during the week, especially. I mean, maybe during the weekend, cool. All right, I'll watch the Golden State Houston game. It starts at 10:30. All right, but during the week, no, I can't do that. But so you lose, and I'm sure that the West Coast people aren't paying attention as closely to the East Coast teams because they start for them at dinner time, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's just I don't know how it really works out for them because you don't really see, the NFL, for example, doesn't do that. The NFL is you have a 1 o'clock game, a 4 o'clock game, and a late game.
Or an 8 o'clock game if they're in London.
They don't cater to the West Coast at all, basically, because every game is super early to them.
By the way, as we speak,
yeah,
the Sixers are down only 21 points right now.
Oh my God!
Is
it halftime?
As the quarter comes to a close, it looks like I don't know, somebody's on the floor hurt. It's not a 76er, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter because this game might be over.
God. So, all right, let's get into the Sixers right now then. There's no time like the present. I'm tired of hearing about Joel Embiid and his minor health issues. The knee tendonitis thing is a whole separate issue to me. You hear other athletes talk about it and that it's a major problem and it doesn't go away and it really sucks. But we're talking about him sneezing before games now. We're talking about him drinking 4 milkshakes and having diarrhea now. That's what we're talking about in Philadelphia sports. And it's just, it's dumb to me.
I want to give you a quote right now.
Yeah.
A Bronx Tale. A film by Chaz Palminteri and Robert De Niro. Chaz Palminteri's character Sonny in that movie says, "The saddest thing in the world is wasted talent." And you know what? We've seen this kind of thing in sports history over and over and over and over again. Jerry Rice, no natural, some natural ability to play the position, but not overwhelming athletic ability. Work ethic is what made him the greatest wide receiver in the game.
Not to interrupt, but to give you another quote: "Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard." So yeah,
Exactly. Who said that?
Kevin Durant, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice, perfect.
That's a great.
So
quote.
it's a great. Jerry Rice would tell you that he played with countless guys that were way more talented than him. When you have all the talent in the world, it's just sometimes you have that voice in your head that says, "I don't have to work as hard. I'm
Right.
already there."
Right.
And Beat seems to have that. And we laugh. We've made like a joke of his diet the past few years, and how he loves Shirley Temples and milkshakes and cheeseburgers and all this stuff. It's not a joke anymore. Like when sports now, you have to be in peak physical condition.
Right.
Like, and that's the way it works for high paid jobs. Like, there's no excuse. I mean, if you're going after like a superhero job, like Thor, I've got the name of that actor. You can't show up.
Hemsworth.
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. You can't show up day one of shooting and have a beer belly.
Right.
Doesn't work. No, you'll lose the job.
Right.
You will flat out lose the job. Which is kind of funny. I use him as an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
No spoiler alert, but there's something going on in the
thing
newest
with that
movie
is
in that regard.
it's kind of the same kind of contract deal. He gets paid to do a couple months in advance, work out to get the physique he needs to be Thor. All these athletes, they get paid so they can go work out,
Right.
so they can get physical condition. I think you're going to see maybe in addition to some contracts of here's what you need to eat when the season is
Well,
going
there's
on.
personal chefs out there.
Yeah,
like
right.
most
There's personal
athletes
chefs.
have personal chefs these days.
But how you see in all these sports
But
contracts,
basketball caters to the superstars. The superstars make their own rules. The Sixers are clearly afraid
Right.
because they've been in the cellar for so long. They're clearly afraid to tell their superstars anything. Like, do you get the impression that Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid are intimidated by management at all whatsoever, or
No.
that they
Nope.
dictate what management does
well,
and says?
Embiid's also been watching James Bond movies, so he's eating the Chick-fil-A. So when he's running down the court, he's just going to shit, and it's going to be an oil slick, and he's going to get away.
I don't know, man. I think that like if you want to be one of the greats, you got to act like one of the greats. You got to go out there and perform. But the thing to me, especially in the playoffs, but the thing to me, and the question that I want to ask you guys is the problem right now the conditioning or the diet, or is it straight up load management throughout the season? Is it to the point where, I mean, because I know Embiid missed quite a few games, especially leading up to the playoffs, but is this a load management issue, or is this a conditioning issue?
I don't think you can be considered the best if you have load management in your vocabulary. Like if
Right.
that dictates how you perform.
Right.
I mean, we were just talking about Jordan and what he did with the flu.
With the flu, right. Yep. Yeah, the flu,
It's all
he
conditioning.
came out and just killed it. Yeah, it's conditioning.
Yeah, because, I mean, you have to step up as
Right.
part of all aspects of it.
I mean, he is, just to play devil's advocate, at least in Joel Embiid's case, he is over 7 feet. Your knees go bad. Shit like that happens. Just the taller, the bigger you are naturally. But that's all the more reason to just stay conditioned.
He could
Stay
also
into it.
probably stand to lose like 10 pounds. You know, all
Yeah.
that extra weight from the bad dieting is not good for your knees anyway.
You look at the Greek Freak. You look at like the difference between him in his rookie season and him now. Like he's literally a freak of nature now. Like
Yeah.
he is that physically jacked, and you see it. You see it in a direct reflection in his game.
Directly correlated.
He is just pushing people around out there, straight up carrying that team to the best record in the league. I mean, you don't see that kind of fire on the Sixers right now.
Jimmy
But you
Butler
don't
is
really-
about it.
Jimmy Butler is about it in the playoffs, which brings me back to a conversation we had last season, Reevy, about what are the Sixers going to do after the season? They're going to have to start paying people. They're going to have to start getting people off that roster. My Jimmy Butler jersey right now is starting to look like a better investment than it did when we were recording last season, strictly because of his performance in the playoffs. Like he's come out there. I mean, I think he's a little
On the court coaching.
Yeah, I mean, he's carrying this team to the wins that they're getting. I mean, And some
But
of the
he's the
games-
only one that's showing up every night.
Every night.
Consistently.
Yeah, consistently on one side of the ball or the other. I mean, or both, because he's been crushing it. What do you think? Do you think that they pay Jimmy that max contract at the end of all this?
Yeah, it's going to be their target, but there's a lot of guys that are going to be available at the end of the year. They're going to go after those guys too. I don't know if it's a stretch, and maybe it is. I mean, because nobody's talking about it, but Kevin Durant went to a super team once. If he thinks this could be kind of a super team scenario again, except he gets to be the face of it, that could be interesting. I mean, why go to New York? Why would he go to New York that has really nothing to build on right now? But even Vegas has the odds-on favorite for him to go to New York. So there's a lot of options, but I think they want to go with Jimmy Butler for sure. But there's bigger questions too, like did JJ sign a 1-year deal or a multi-year deal?
I think it was a 1 year.
Yeah, I'm
If
pretty
it
sure
was a
it's just
1-year deal, there's a big problem there because he's their only consistent 3-point threat right now.
Agreed.
And there's nobody else.
Also, if you're Jimmy Butler and you're seeing what's happening here, like, do you want to come back? Like, that's why he left Minnesota. He was the only guy that was doing anything.
Yeah, but
Right.
he's getting too old to be able to choose. I mean, where's he going to get a better deal? Like, when it comes right down to it, there's only 4 teams left right now playing in the East. There's 4 teams in the West. Like, if he's going to improve, then he has to go to one of those other teams.
Well,
I mean,
it
if
comes
you're doing
down to
the math.
what's more important to you, money or winning a championship.
Right.
It all depends on the mindset of the player.
So, yeah, I mean, if there's a team like, let's say, Toronto loses Kawhi, but they want to add Jimmy Butler, that doesn't make them better. If Denver signs Jimmy Butler, yeah, that would make them better. Like, there's only a few teams where it kind of makes sense to add Jimmy Butler, and they might get better than his scenario right now. But the odds that all those chips align, it just seems unlikely. So I think his best option is here.
I would love for him to stay here.
But
Oh my
it
God.
might not be the best scenario for the Sixers if they can lure a better player. I mean, I don't know what you're getting with the Celtics. Kyle
Lowry?
No, not Kyle Lowry.
Or no, Kyrie?
Kyrie Irving. Yeah. He shit the bed the last 3 games.
Yeah.
He's having a terrible series right now, and you got to wonder if age and a little wear and tear from him being hurt 2 years ago is having an effect on him now. But he's another free agent that's available. I don't know. You go after a guy like that.
Yeah, the Bucks are the Bucks are smashing the Celtics in their series. In the first couple
3-1.
games, it looked like it was going to be really competitive, but now they're up 3-1 over the Celtics. And like you said, I mean, they've showed a direct disconnect all season with Kyrie and the rest of that locker room. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he doesn't want to be there.
Well,
Maybe
he said that.
he did say that
through the year where they asked him, and it's the funniest thing in the world to me when they ask you straight out, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to re-sign? I'll deal with that in the offseason. It always means you're not interested in re-signing. I mean, there's an easy answer to that. If you're interested in re-signing, you just say it.
They came out right before the playoffs with like this, heartwarming, we all love each other and we're getting along great, and he's talking to the media like, yeah, it's great being here and da-da-da. And he apologized for some of the things that he said and da-da-da. So it made it look like they were going to, and then they did really good in the first round.
All to repair what you actually felt.
Exactly.
And it doesn't work. Anthony Davis did the same thing, except he's actually under contract next year, which that was the dumbest thing. He tried to get out with 2 years left.
Right.
So he screwed himself. This is all what I was just saying. The players have too much power. They run the whole thing. And this is what fans think they want, but they don't really want.
Right.
Fans think they're on the side of the players. No. Fans are actually part of management. They're part of the ownership of the team. They keep the team in business.
Right.
When the players leave, you're still a fan of the team. You're not actually on the players' side. As fans, we don't want the players to have this much power. We think we do. We don't.
Right.
There needs to be a power shift, and I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon.
I don't think so. Not in the NBA because they want it to be popular. They want the fans to get into it. I mean, but I don't know. We'll see. But we got to do rapid fire. And then we got go to the week. CJ, what do you got this week for rapid fire?
All right. Boston Red Sox quitting Fortnite until we start winning again.
Do it. That's a great idea. If the whole squad is like playing Fortnite like that, like if that's a problem in the locker room,
They apparently go live and the whole
for real.
thing, yeah.
Oh, see, yeah. It's
I don't even understand how that works, but yeah, it can't be a good idea.
Yeah,
That's
no.
a big thing in baseball right now. There's a lot of guys playing Fortnite.
just what in the dugout while games are happening.
No, but they're playing that
In their
and they're
free
going
time.
on, yeah, and
They're on what? Twitch?
Yeah,
Is that what
Twitch.
it's called?
Yeah, Twitch. Yeah,
I'm
that's
showing my
crazy.
age.
For real, all these baseball players are doing that shit.
yeah.
Oh my
Well,
god.
Lance McCullers, and it's a shameless plug again, but my new baseball book, Incredible Baseball Stats, Lance McCullers, the forward for that, he's got a pretty big, whatever the hell that game's called. What were we just saying? Fortnite. He's got a pretty big Fortnite thing going on. He's on Twitch. He plays a lot.
It's wild.
He's got a pretty active career going in there in the background, but it's what they do in their spare time.
Ben Simmons fined $20,000 for nut shot.
Oh, is this when he fell over and then he kind of was rotating and elbowed dude in the
Yeah,
dick?
yeah.
It's corny to me.
That's pretty steep, man.
That's a lot of money for what looked like an accidental shot to me.
MLB nightmare swarm of bees interrupts game.
Oh, that's terrifying. That sounds
I
terrifying.
saw that this morning.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so
the
weird,
Reds
man.
and the Giants.
Oh, that
Never
sounds
seen anything
terrible.
like that.
They actually delayed the game for
Really?
the bees. Yeah.
Wow.
Conor McGregor training in Ireland, ready to fight now.
I thought he retired. Didn't he retire? Was I making that up? In my head?
No,
He's said those things.
he's retired until he gets ownership of the UFC.
He's got it. We should do a whole episode on him one day. He's got issues dealing with like the Irish mob.
Yeah.
He owes money. He's got things going on with. He's got addiction problems potentially. There's a lot going on there, and it's
Yeah, he's ready to fight now because he needs money.
Well, all right, so this steps up even more. Sylvester Stallone, Conor deserves UFC ownership. I'll give you some, since apparently Stallone is an owner.
Wow. So he's just gonna give him some of his chips.
Well, it has to be voted by UFC, and I'm sure there'll be money involved, but Stallone is offering.
I mean, he definitely revolutionized the sport in the modern era. But I don't know if that qualifies you to just like
Give it to him.
get what you want all the time, especially with all the negative press. that
Rocky
he's got.
Balboa would never do that. That's a total Sylvester Stallone move. Rocky Balboa would not sign off on that.
That's a
Just
CTE
saying.
move right there.
I don't know. I think Rocky would. Donald Trump honors Tiger Woods Presidential Medal of Freedom.
You know what? Tiger Woods does a lot of good for a lot of people, not just in golf.
As does Donald Trump.
As
Wouldn't you
does-
agree?
As does Donald Trump, I suppose. But
I got you to say it.
he's okay. He's actually really terrible in my opinion. But no, Okay.
Tiger Woods
Tiger
just
Woods.
won the Masters.
Tiger
What do
Woods is
you
a
mean?
horrible person.
What do you mean he's terrible? He just won the Masters. Doesn't make any sense.
Tiger Woods deserves it. I mean, he's made mistakes just like everybody else, but you know, he's got, like I said, one of the greatest comeback stories in modern sports history for sure.
Ex-UFC star Anthony Johnson arrested for domestic violence again.
Who was this?
UFC star.
Oh, you know, all these guys, it's crazy. All the domestic violence and stuff. That's what you said he's in for?
Yeah.
What's his name from the Chiefs?
Kareem Hunt,
Hunt.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, all this stuff, all these guys, man. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame.
I think you're later going to find out a lot of it's related to roid rage.
That or like that
Yeah.
CTE stuff.
I think that
That's
CTE
it.
is legitimate, but there's no reason, there's no excuse for doing that.
Yeah, I mean the whole CTE and concussions and all that stuff is really, really crazy. And the worst part about it is that you can't test for it until they're already dead. And when we were talking about hockey,
They're getting close to
are they?
a kind of preliminary thing where
Okay.
it's not 100% like, oh yeah, you have it and they can do it while you're alive. It's like there's 75% chance you have it.
I know the NFL's dumping a bunch of money into it now.
Yeah.
Because they got called out on not doing anything about it.
Jim Brown praises John Singleton. Never forgot about the community.
Who?
Jim Brown.
And who is he
Wait,
talking
which-
about?
John Singleton.
The director, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Not the former minor league baseball player
Right.
for the Phillies, who I know you were thinking
That's
of.
what I was thinking.
No. John
He never
Singleton.
forgot about the community either, but
Right.
not the one we're talking about.
Yeah. I don't know enough about this story to really comment much about it.
I mean, John Singleton was a great director. It's one of those crazy things where he was like 55 maybe and in fantastic shape. I think I heard he ran like every day. And he had like a weird circulation thing, was on a long flight,
Mm-hmm.
didn't stand up or whatever, and had like a blood clot deal and died.
Yep.
So the same thing happened to Travis Knight. He was on a long flight, blood clot, it broke off, went into his lung. I was supposed to film with him the one day. So the blood clot went into his lung, caused his one lung to collapse, and his other one started filling up with fluid. So I had to take him to the emergency room. and
Wow.
Whole big thing.
So,
crazy.
so 2 lessons for kids: don't sit down for a very long time, and don't tear up your horse betting slips,
Right.
kids.
Lessons of the day.
Yeah, so don't play Fortnite. Go out and run a little bit. And
Yeah. Exactly.
Don't tear up those betting slips.
Is that it, CJ?
Mhm.
All right. Let's do go to the week real quick. Might Be Sports presents the greatest of all time. Of the week. All right. The greatest of all time of the week. Mine is Allen Iverson because on this date, as we're recording in 2002, he had his famous talk about practice. I miss Allen Iverson. I miss that level of intensity, that level of intense competitiveness in Philadelphia basketball. I mean, at his position, I feel like he's severely underrated by some people. And I just, oh my God, I miss Allen Iverson so much.
That's a good one.
What do you got? Who's next? Anybody? Andrew, go.
I'm gonna go Jimmy Butler. Talk about a guy who's keeping everything together, or at least trying to. He shows up every single game and tries to keep those guys in line. So how could you not pick Jimmy Butler?
They're getting wiped out right now, and he's got like let me see.
He's trying to do everything.
Yeah, he's got a lot of points right now for where he's at. Yeah, they're coming back a little bit. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the Sixers. That's a good pick. Reevy, what do you got?
All right, so mine's going to be in the sport of baseball. And just right off the bat, another shameless plug this Saturday at P.J. Willihan's in Newtown Square, also known as Edgemont, Pennsylvania. Check us out at 3 to 3:30 to around 6:30. We got a book signing featuring the beer of Conshohocken Brewing Company. Going to be a beer special there. We got book signing stuff, all kinds of cool things. Me and Ryan Spader, you know him at the Ace of Spader fame, the greatest sports stat mind on the planet. So if you're around, come check us out. But yeah, so my guy, the AL Player of the Month, really interesting dude. Don't love the bat flips, but I'm coming around on that kind of stuff. This guy, Tim Anderson for the White Sox, big on the bat flips, shortstop. He's a guy who was a first-round pick of the White Sox in 2013. It's kind of a long time ago. And he's not been that great since. But he had a breakout month. AL Player of the Month. He's one of those rare guys. He's actually stealing a lot of bases and hitting some home runs. His batting average is way up high. On the year, he's batting .339 right now. He's got 12 stolen bases, 6 home runs on the year. I think for the month he batted like I'm going to say .375, I believe, on the month. And very exciting player. He could be the future of the White Sox. The one concerning thing is that he's played 2 full seasons before this, and his on base percentage for 2017 was 276. 2018 was 281. So even though he's batting 339 right now, his on base percentage is only 365. So he had a great month. He's having a really good year. Rooting for this guy. This guy could be, a very exciting player to watch in the future. Again, he's one of those bat flip guys that you got to get on this train or get the hell off, because this is where the game is going. And I'm trying to get on board.
I was going to say, you're not into the bat flips as of right now.
I'm not really totally into the bat flips, because I think it's kind of it seems forced most of the time, and it just seems unnecessary. Be excited. Why do you have to throw a bat? It seems weird. It seems unnecessary. I don't know, but I'm probably wrong. I'm trying to come around on that. I do get the hypocrisy where I enjoy where the pitcher celebrates and fist pumps and does all their theatrics and all that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I get how there could be some hypocrisy there, but Tim Anderson's a guy who could be the future of Major League Baseball, an exciting player to watch. So hopefully he keeps this going. But man, the guy needs to walk every now and then. It's just, you can bat 349 all you want, but if your on base percentage is 360, you just can't keep doing that. Doug Glanville for the Phillies was a guy like that. It would bat 300. His on base percentage was like 320. You need to walk.
Yeah.
You have to. That's the way the game is right now. That's why Bryce Harper is still a very valuable guy. By the way, he hit a grand slam tonight.
Yes, he did.
He's great.
Yes.
So he could bat 230. His on base percentage is 350. Still a very valuable guy. Tim Anderson needs a little bit more Bryce Harper in him.
Excellent job tonight, everybody. Like I said, ask Alexa to play Might Be News Network podcast. MBNnetwork.com. It's never been easier to find your new favorite podcast. Kevin Reevey, fantastic job.
I do my best.
Andrew DeCecco, I'm so glad you're part of the team now, man.
Thanks, man.
Fantastic job. CJ, excellent.
Thank you.
Steve, again, thank you so much for taking over production duties for me while I'm gone this weekend. It's going to be a blast. You're going to do fantastic. And you can always call me. It's going to be great. But
by the way, I just want to mention real quick, when you're, done asking Alexa to play, Might Be News and all that kind of stuff, also ask her to play some Eric Clapton too. That's some good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Motherless Children, a great song not a whole lot of people know about. Ask her to play that. You'll enjoy yourself. Just take the afternoon and relax with some Might Be News and Eric Clapton.
It's a great idea. Sounds like a great idea.
Just good advice is all it is.
Any day of the week, basically. Just do it.
Damn right.
All right, guys. MBNnetwork.com. This is Might Be Sports. I'm Taylor Cooper. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week.